terrifying Christian revolt took place in America on the 6th of January, the Christian festival of Epiphany. It involved the erection of crosses, piped religious music over the speaker system, and placards announcing that God, guns and guts built America. It took place on Capitol Hill and ended in a violent assault on American democracy. Evangelical and other radical right church groups have supported Donald Trump in his election and presidency. How could they do that in the name of Jesus, who called the peacemakers and those who hunger for justice the blessed? Religion is a sitting duck for abuse. From the earliest days of the church, imperial powers have co-opted and corrupted the radical movement of Jesus of Nazareth for their own advantage. The roots of American democracy lie in the Puritan movements of the 16th and 17th centuries. Protestant settlements in the northeastern states believed in the priesthood of all believers. And that meant that their congregations were to be self-governing, independent of traditional hierarchies. Civic democracy emerged from their church polity. Union Chapel has a piece of Pilgrim Plymouth Rock on display in the church. The rock is the place where the Pilgrim Fathers landed when they first settled in the Massachusetts colony. So there is a link between the American experiment in democracy and the tradition of our church. But that democracy was flawed from the outset, built on the theft of land and the enslavement of people. It has struggled to match the lofty Christian ideals with the reality of division and exclusion. We have just seen that America is as divided on racial grounds as it has been since the earliest days of European expansion across the Atlantic. We must acknowledge that our own country is not free from responsibility. As that lump of rock in Union Chapel painfully reminds us, the brutal colonial legacy is as much ours as theirs. Americans' original sin is ours as well. Neither are we free from the spread of falsehood, misinformation, and the stoking of resentment and hostility in the new media. 6th of January 2021 on Capitol Hill is as much a wake-up call for us as the United States. And I want to argue that this is also a wake-up call for Christians. The lazy equation of faith with nation is dangerous. The shallow repetition of the name of Jesus as a mantra to justify prejudice dilutes the demands of discipleship. Christians need to stare our reality in the face. God's creation is being abused with devastating consequences. God's children face discrimination and injustice. So many lives are being wasted through economic insecurity and the escalation of conflict fueled by a repulsive arms trade. Jesus said, "He is the way, the truth, and the life." Living the way of Jesus is a way of compassion, peace, and seeking after justice. The truth of the gospel requires the challenging work of discernment and not just falling for any lie that you read on Twitter or anywhere else. And the way and truth of Jesus is always life-enhancing. Capitol Hill brought death, dread, and despair. It was a Christian revolt. If it was a Christian revolt, then it could not have been more misguided. I hope that America pulls back from the brink. The easiest thing for church leaders and individual Christians now is to mutter platitudes about healing. Healing can only come when the boil is lanced. This is not the time for healing. This is the time to face up to the bitter truths of history that are still being lived out today. It is a time for reparation, for putting right centuries of wrong. That is the work that is urgently needed on both sides of the Atlantic.